In Tallahassee, they play their game. Scumbag politicals, they're all the same. From Miami Heat to Tampa skies, the truth is hidden behind their lies. Florida's pulse, we're taking control. This unsanctioned show, we're on a roll. Unsanctioned Florida, we'll bring the heat. Spotlight on the scumbags, can't accept defeat. From the coast to the swamp, we'll make it clear. A sunrise shines state, we're spreading the fear. Unsanctioned Florida, we'll bring the heat. Stop the crows, shine the scumbag, can't accept defeat. In the sunshine state, we're spreading the fear, the fear. Red and blue, they try to divide, but we'll expose the truth, we won't hide. Corruption runs deep, it's like a crime wave. On this podcast, we'll be brave. Echoes of the truth, let it ring. Politicians bail, but we're the real thing. Unsanctioned Florida will bring the heat. Spotlight on the scumbags, can't accept defeat. From the coast to the swamp, we'll make it clear. In the sunshine state, we're spreading the fear. So tune in, now we've got work to do. Exposing the truth, bringing it to you. Bringing it to you.
This messaging is not to be believed. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the state is trying to erase LGBTQ people, but our community is fighting back. We're sending a message that we will not be erased, and we're joining even with small business leaders in Orlando who have begun offering their parking lots at their places of business and their restaurants, asking folks in the community to show up to paint those rainbows, because we're gonna build back a gayer. We're gonna build back a gayer.
answer, they don't like raise their hands to ask a question during the actual town hall. That's why I always insist, like, let me go out to the audience, let me talk with people. And that's when I start meeting the people who are like, you know, I voted for Trump, you know, like, you know, quietly, you know, voted for Trump, or I'm a registered Republican, but I voted for, you know, Kamala. And so that's where you really start to see what the crowd is.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
That is a big lie.
Huge lie.
That
Huge
is a
lie.
Big lie. There's no, come on, give me a break. There's no Republican that voted for Kamala. Even the ones that hate Trump either wrote somebody in. The people who are like DeSantis only wrote DeSantis in. People wrote all kinds of things, but they did not vote for Kamala Harris.
No.
Kamala Harris lost more than 10 million votes from the previous election. And did the Democrats not steal votes this time? Of course they stole votes. The difference is that they couldn't make up that much ground.
No.
That's how bad it was. Nobody will ever know how few people voted for Kamala because the Democrats lie. But nonetheless, we all know that is a big doozy right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, a lot of the, we saw that first video with Carlos Guillermo saying that they're going to build back gayer. Build back gayer.
This one trick pony is one trick, you know, sparkly unicorn pony is an absolute joke. It's the only thing he thinks about day in, day out. He goes home, he smooches his husband, and he just thinks about how can we paint more rainbows across our community. This is not a serious man, not a man at all, but not a serious man who's up there trying to legislate what's good for American families, what's good for Floridians. He's only thinking about gay. That's it. That's his only thing. So it's just a waste. Sending him up there is a waste. This is stupidity. They're not, listen, no person is equivalent to a sidewalk or a crosswalk or anything like that. If you're calling gay people the pavement, then you guys would be equivalent. But otherwise, they're not. They are cleaning the streets. That's all.
No.
So we're going to talk about this. We have a whole bunch of pride sidewalks and crosswalk stories going on. We're going to talk about them all. One thing I just wanted to mention really quick that he talked about, there's businesses telling us to come and paint our parking lots. Then why not do it?
Yeah.
Then why not do it?
That's perfectly fine. If that's a business that chooses to do it, do it.
Yeah, nobody cares. And then we have a right to choose to go to that business or not that business, right? But that's the way it should be. Exactly that is how it should be. He mentioned it by accident. I am a business owner. I'm gay. I want you to come paint a rainbow on my sidewalk or on my parking lot. I have no problem. I don't give a damn. Go ahead. Paint. You can paint your whole building. If the ordinance allows you to paint your whole building in rainbow colors, I don't care. No. But when you use my taxpayer money to go paint something that I may or may not agree with, I'm not down for it. I've never asked any politician to go paint a Trump sign anywhere.
Nope.
Never have I asked somebody to go use our taxpayer money to go paint a Trump sign or a big Catholic, Jerusalem cross or anything like that. I've never asked that. So I don't appreciate them forcing us to do these public displays of LGBTQ support because the government's not supposed to support anybody. It's supposed to do a job. That's it. It's supposed to do quietly, efficiently, effectively a job.
Absolutely.
That's it. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned Florida. We're excited to be with you this evening. We are live on September 1, Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
And happy Labor Day. We have a great, hopefully you got a chance to spend time with your families and everything else. We got a whole bunch of things to talk about. Not only that My Little Pony, one trick pony, but we got Alligator Alcatraz story. We got weigh-in stations being used to check for illegals. DeSantis talks about Florida having at least one more congressional seat. That's a big story. A sweaty RINO proposes Ocala National Park. Lake and Orange join a class action lawsuit against SB 180. That's big. It is a big story. It's a story that we talked about many times, right? And I was not necessarily for it or against it because at the end of, on both sides of this deal, there's corrupt politicians. So, but nonetheless,
surprise.
Visit Orlando story talks about it not being so wasteful and Worrell's looking to alleviate your caseload.
Ponzi scheme.
We're going to talk about it right now. We're going to say a quick prayer and then we're going to get right down to the show. Lord God, we are very appreciative. We say it every week. We are extremely appreciative to come here and be able to talk to your people and talk to our fellow citizens and discuss the things that are important to our fellow Floridians. We are fighting for our state and for our country, and this is our little way. In addition to other ways, we hope that people join the fight, and we know that at the end of the day, the more our country resembles a place that you would be proud of, the better we will all be. So get people to rise up, stand up, participate, take advantage of their rights here, which were given to us, bestowed upon us by you, so that this country can begin to resemble a more honorable, more honest, more transparent government that the American citizen deserves. In your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. All right, let's get into some statewide news, John. All right, John. Unfortunately, Alligator Alcatraz has begun to shut down.
Operations appearing to wind down at Alligator Alcatraz. Chopper 4 over the Everglades camp today as crews were on the move, and at least one flight was seen taking off from the migrant detention center. CBS News Miami's Zakai Carrera is joining us live from downtown Miami right now, where a judge ruled its closure can continue. Right, Nakaya?
That's right, Elliot. The Department of Homeland Security confirming to CBS News Miami that detainees are being moved out of Alligator Alcatraz. Now, that is happening despite ongoing appeals to keep the facility in the middle of the Everglades open with this ongoing court case happening.
Chopper 4 flew over Alligator Alcatraz today. We saw a Coast Guard plane taking off from the facility and a convoy of vehicles that include coach buses and off-road vehicles. Late yesterday, the judge declined to halt her ruling pending appeal. In the new order, she said federal and state officials had failed to present new evidence showing the detainees are dangerous or that a pause in operations at the facility would thwart immigration enforcement efforts. DHS released a statement saying DHS is complying with this order and moving detainees to other facilities. We will continue to fight tooth and nail to remove the worst of the worst from American streets. We also received a statement from the Florida Division of Emergency Management. It says Alligator Alcatraz is a temporary deportation facility. The detainees who are delivered there will be all returned to their home countries. This was always the facility's intent to expedite the deportation process and support the president's immigration initiative. The mission has not changed. Deportations will continue, and Florida will remain at the forefront of the nation's immigration enforcement efforts. I spoke with the Miccosukee Tribal Nation senior policy advisor regarding the judge's decision.
For us, we have an established homeland and identity here in South Florida within the Big Cypress and Everglades, and we will fight till the end. However long it takes, however many generations it takes, we have the knowledge and the history on our side, and we know that we will win.
Now, Alligator Alcatraz is also the subject of two other lawsuits. One of those lawsuits alleges that detainees have been unable to meet with their lawyers confidentially. In downtown Miami, Nakaya Carrero, CBS News, Miami.
All right, John. So, yes, Alligator Alcatraz is beginning to shut down. As you heard, federal judge ruling against it. And the Miccosukee there, they can't wait to build a casino on that land. I'm kidding, of course. I don't know that they can. We know the Seminoles have definitely cashed in. I don't know if they want to or not. I mean, who knows? But they could obviously do that if they chose to, I imagine. But this is crazy. And we already have a comment from Brian. What a huge waste of resources and money. And it is at this point, if they're going to shut it down for good, it is a huge waste of resources and money. But that's because the federal judge made it that way. Correct? Or
well, I mean, the equivalent of this is this is just leftist spite, right? So we have, imagine if the governor picked a whole bunch of books and we bought these books to prepare kids for a test, right? But Democrats, they got upset because the books didn't have any homosexual pornography in the books, right? So then they demanded that the books be burned because there's no pornography in the books. That is what this is. They didn't like the fact that he was the fact that Desantis was just gaining on this ground. They saw him as an extremely effective person. This is exactly like the 3-day bridge down in the Keys where they just lit it up, right? The storm came, blew away a bridge. They built a bridge in 3 days. People were driving on it. And this is the same thing. Alligator Alcatraz is just exactly that. This facilitated more people being deported more quickly, more efficiently, more cost effectively. And then what happens? The Democrats throw a fit. They decide to shut it down. And now it costs all Floridians more money to do the same thing. It is a complete and total waste, not because it's just, this is why we can't have nice things. The Democrats won't allow us to have nice things. They want things to be bad. And this is an example of that.
Yeah, but another example of these activist judges shutting things down that they don't like, that are coming into play because of Republican control. So you see this here and it's shutting down, but this is not going to stop the deportations. They're still going to happen. These people that are here illegally are still going home, no matter what, whether Alligator Alcatraz is there or not.
The problem is that Democrats don't care about that. They don't care if something's working. They don't care if anything changes, right? They don't care if the kids pass the test. What they care about is the optics of them winning an argument. Yeah. This is like having somebody toxic, being in a toxic relationship. They don't give a damn about the health of the relationship. They don't care if there's kids. They don't care about anything. The only thing they care about is winning an argument at that time. We've all known people like that. Yeah. I served on the school board with 4 of those people. So this is the same thing, right? Yeah. It's just people throwing fits. This is what happens when adults don't become men and women. They stay children in mind, but they're adults in body. So they're willing to throw away the baby with the bathwater, and they're willing to they'd rather have a kingdom that is burnt down than to allow someone else to rule it. And that's a famous saying, and that's exactly what the Democrat applies to the Democrats left and right.
Yeah, and I was going to say the same thing. It's like children, you know what I mean? I'm going to get you here. I don't like this, so I'm going to go after you because of it. It's just crazy. But we're going to talk about more examples of that as we go through the show tonight, because there's many examples that Democrats are on defensive all the time right now. Every story, it's like they're on defense. They're on defense. You know what I mean? So anyway, moving on from Alligator Alcatraz, and we'll see what happens there. They say they're going to keep fighting to keep this place open. We'll see. Yeah. Well, now Florida is going to be using truck weigh stations as immigration checkpoints.
Another great idea.
Yeah.
Another great idea. So what's going to happen is the Democrats are going to beg for the weigh stations to be shut down. They're no longer going to weigh the vehicles anymore. It's just ridiculous. They're going to be like, we don't like weighing our vehicles anymore. This is fat shaming semi trucks. And so we demand that you no longer weigh any vehicles. It's crazy. But
it is.
Again, this is smart. This is smart government right here. Trucks are already coming in. People are smuggled on these trucks. One great way, if you have a CDL and you're going down the road in a big truck and you got illegals, now they're going to be sniffing a little bit harder. It's a great way to do it.
Brian commented, I love all the talk about due process and their constitutional rights of all of the illegal immigrants that are in our country. Yep, exactly. They don't have due process. They don't have rights because they're not citizens.
We're having to pay for their flight. They should have to, in my opinion, they should have to work they should have to, like, when they get in detention, they should have to work to pay off the price of the flight.
No,
because we're paying for that. Otherwise, they get to come in here, break the laws, and then we have to pay to send them back and to feed them and everything else. So they're already getting more than they deserve. I always say, don't threaten me with a good time. Take the win and walk away. No. So take the win and walk away. And illegals know this. That's why a whole bunch of illegals self-deported. That's why they're not fighting that part. Oh, you'd have to take somebody real special like the Maryland dad who's actually going to come out and speak against what we're doing. But most illegals go peacefully, and they're like, I got caught, whatever, I'll try again.
No,
because they know they're getting more than they deserve already.
No,
certainly more than they would be getting in their home countries.
So sorry,
Florida's Attorney General is going to announce that all the trucking weigh stations in the state of Florida will now serve as immigration checkpoints.
Great idea. Yeah, it's a great idea. And by the way, I also think we should find out who gave his road test, who green-lighted it, What company insured him? What company hired him? And all those companies pay the price.
Yep, and then I agree with him on that. Although I never agree with that man most of the time because he's a big old neocon. But yes, we need to know these things. We need to find out these things. And you can thank Harjinder Singh. That is the guy that we extradited back from California because he decided to use a median and use one of those median turn lanes to pull his semi truck through there and take the lives of 3 Floridians here with no remorse and no regret. Maybe he has some now, John. I don't know, but but now we'll have these truck weigh stations act as immigration checkpoints thanks to him. So,
well, certainly this is absolutely horrendous. It's the worst thing that could possibly happen to a family as somebody who doesn't understand our signs, our driving laws, and then they're provided with a CDL. He was actually given a CDL in a different state. I think it was New Jersey.
No, it was California, John. It was California.
No, well, I think that he originally got it in New Jersey and it expired. Then he went to California and got another one.
Oh.
So, like, it's not just California. All these liberal states, they're more than happy to allow these people to come and just destroy an American family for no other reason than to keep power, because this is what their whole plan for the elections was.
Yeah.
Bring in the illegals, get more seats. It gives us more opportunity. It gives us more money. And now that's backfiring because now Americans are saying enough is enough. But at the same time, that was their entire election strategy. And I hope they go to jail for it.
Absolutely.
I'm not happy with just this one guy going to jail. I think the people who gave him, that signed off, should lose their jobs, their licenses, everything. The company that hired this guy is absolutely going to be destroyed. That we know for sure. That company's gone. And it's probably some small trucking company, but they're going to get smoked. And then the insurance company, it needs to go down because the insurance company is what enabled. They enabled this the trucking company to do this. They should have ensured that there's no illegal aliens on the road. Anybody who could not have legitimately passed a CDL to be on the road. I hope that insurance company goes down. And I hope that the United States government doesn't bail it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right, Brian. We need to see accountability on both sides of the aisle. We need justice for all of this.
Republicans are no better on these issues.
No, they're not.
If you look at Florida, in Florida, we have a Republican supermajority. And who's protecting the illegals in Florida? The Republican Party. The Republican Party is absolutely why? Because they're controlled by legislature. Look at the gigantic RINO that you have in the
lobbyists,
agriculture, right? You have lobby. Exactly. They're all the same. So Wilt Simpson, you cannot have anybody worse as the AG, as the agriculture commissioner, because that guy, absolutely, his job is to protect illegal aliens.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't trust that guy. As far as his mother wished,
they wanted to put this in his hands.
Yeah, that's why they elect. That's why
this legislature wanted to put it in his hands.
Yep. That would have been, imagine they would have been hiring themselves. The agriculture commissioner would have been hiring these illegals themselves to drive these trucks.
Yep. Old Uncle Wilty. All right. Well, his dreams of being the governor got washed away, didn't they? Really fast, John.
Yeah, they did.
They just poof. They're gone. They're gone. No, never, ever. All right, John. So Governor Desantis is saying that Florida should have one more congressional seat and one more electoral vote due to the census.
And I know there's different issues involving the census even apart from that, but the census that was done, and it started under Trump administration, but it was processed and the results were promulgated under Biden. Just with that, if we just take that and applied it properly, Florida would have at least one more seat. That's just the truth. So the Attorney General has written a letter to the Census Bureau, the Commerce Department, copying the White House, saying, please fix this remuneration and award Florida what we're entitled to, an extra seat in Congress. And if we get that, that's not only an extra seat in the House of Representatives, we have 28 now, that would also mean an additional vote in the Electoral College when it comes to presidential elections. And so we should have had that in 2024, in 22 for Congress, 24 for both Congress and the Electoral College. And we want this fixed now. We think it's really something that's important. So
It should be fixed, John. Absolutely.
I mean, only one more seat. How can California be gerrymandered to the degree it is, and we only get one seat? They're full. Listen to just the amount of injustice involved here. Florida has a Republican supermajority, but we're splitting these congressional seats with Democrats. In California, you only have a handful of Republicans. In Illinois, you only have a handful of Republicans. And we've been, for some reason, the Republicans in Florida have been playing this game where they just surrender, right? They're like the French.
There's certain areas that they just surrender.
Yeah. The Florida Republicans are like the French. They just put their weapons down and run away. And it's sad to see, because this should be the most Republican state with the most Republican legislature. Instead, it's the most RINO state with the most RINO legislature. It's a sham. It's all a sham and a shame.
Yeah. And right here, Orange and Osceola County are two of the counties that they have completely given up on, or at least it seems that way. Although we do see the Doge audits happening in Orange County, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the Central Florida segment of the show. But, this is the deal. You know what I mean? We've never seen them truly go after Darren Soto. We've seen a glimpse of it this year.
Darren Soto.
Yeah. Well, you know why they're not going to go after Soto, John, but we've seen a glimpse of the NRCC going after Darren Soto now, which we've never seen before, which is a glimpse of hope that they're actually going to go after him. But
they created Darren Soto, right? So, I mean, Darren Soto's not new to the scene. Darren Soto was a state house member, a state senate member, and then went to Congress. He took the traditional path. Hopefully he doesn't go anywhere. That's their view, is that they're going to try to show face. They're going to try to pretend that they're running a campaign. But at the end of the day, they all want him to stay. In terms of it being Osceola and Orange are two different animals, because Orange is legitimately leftist politicians. You have people like Carlos Guillermo Smith. You have people like Alf. I can't even remember what her real name is.
Anna
Escamani, right? So you got all these people in Orange County that are legitimate crazy leftists. Here in Osceola County, we don't have anybody who's a leftist or anybody who's a Republican. You only have establishment, uniparty, corrupt rhinos, and corrupt Democrats, right? They don't give a damn about anything except for being able to put their hand in the cookie jar. It has nothing to do with politics or ideology, and that's different in Orange. That's why they go after Orange. Otherwise, Osceola would be easy pickings.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody likes Nobody likes the Democrat politicians or the Republican politicians in Osceola County. There's nobody who would vouch for them. If they got into a car wreck or they got into a line of flat tires, right? All of those politicians, nobody would pull over to help them, right? So it would be easy to come into Osceola County and say, we're going to get this guy, that guy. We're going to look at the corruption. We're going to look at this. But they don't give a damn. Why? Because they do what they're told. And that's not Orange County. Orange County is, if they were larger, if they were like Jacksonville, then you would see the bigger fights like what's going on in Jacksonville right now.
Yeah. And you know what, John? We see the Doge auditors in Orange County. They're issuing subpoenas to employees because they're saying that they lied. They read from a script, that they weren't telling the full truth to the Doge auditors. But Brian just said it, Neo City in Osceola County. I can do one better than that, Brian. I can do one better than that. We have a $250,000 DEI project going up in Brownie Wise Park. That right there is enough evidence to get the Doge audit team to Osceola County. Time will tell if they will come. But I hope they come.
It's not even, imagine this, right? Like, it's not even the dollar amount. $250,000, that's not that much money. But you're building a 50-foot tall statue to commemorate the homosexuality of the county commissioners.
Yeah.
Imagine how much more wasteful they are. If they're willing to do it that publicly, right? They're throwing it in your face. They're spending $250,000 to build a 50-foot statue to your homosexuality. They're flaunting it in front of everybody. They're throwing it in everybody's face, and Doge is ignoring it. Why would Doge ignore that?
Yeah.
Why would Doge ignore that? Why would anybody ignore all the things that they've done? And
one of our CD9 candidates, Justin Story, I know, met with Blaise Ngolia when the governor was in St. Cloud I think it was last week. And he did talk to Blaze and told him, what's going on here in Osceola County. So I'm praying that the Doge auditors do come here. And I hope they look at the school board. I hope they look at the county commission. I hope they look at City of Kissimmee. I hope they look at City of St. Cloud and find what they're looking for. Because believe me, there's stuff there to find. There's got to be.
I don't know. I listen, the way that somebody should audit the COVID expenditures, right? Now all that's over.
No.
So if they were to go and investigate how they were spent their COVID expenses, because everything should be on paper now.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing up in the air. Everything should be notated. All the T's should be crossed. All the I's should be dotted. That's what they should be investigating. A federal auditor should do that. And I mean, a Florida Doge can come and check on it. Listen, just come to Osceola. Everything is messed up. It doesn't matter what you look for. You can come here not knowing a damn thing, but you will look like the world's greatest investigator because all you got to do is scratch and you will find it. It will come out like a big boil.
Absolutely, John. All right. So we just talked about the census and the fact that we could get one more congressional member and one more electoral vote from the census. But what about redrawing districts? Governor Desantis talked about one in particular, and here's that story.
When Governor Desantis said at least one congressional district in Florida is, quote, racially gerrymandered, I asked him if it was a particular district in Palm Beach County. The governor was referring to Congressional District 20, seen here in purple. It spans Palm Beach and Broward counties. You had mentioned racially drawn districts, and you said at least one in our state. Is that the one represented near here by Sheila Shirtless?
If you look at the
McCormick?
map, there's one that has almost like claws that go out. It's the most irregular shaped district on Florida's map. It's not really what the legislature is supposed to draw pursuant to the Florida Constitution, but the reason why they were able to do it is to ensure, at least on the surface, compliance, with the VRA Section 2.
The VRA is the Voting Rights Act, which allows for the creation of districts which have a majority of voters who belong to a minority group, in order to protect the voting power of those minorities. The governor believes the U.S. Supreme Court will strike down that provision in the next 2 months and clear the way for a redrawing of Florida congressional maps. I have not received comments yet from Congresswoman Shirtless McCormick. Governor DeSantis also believes Florida can get an extra congressional district for the upcoming 2026 elections that it should have had in the 2020 census. The head of the state Democratic Party calls this redistricting an attempt at adding Republican congressional seats, saying Florida voters aren't dumb and they know that attempts by the Florida GOP to withdraw maps are nothing more than an attempt to rig the system.
They shouldn't ask her
congressional maps
any questions about anything
after a federal census, not when a political party is afraid of losing power. Congresswoman Lois Frankel, whose own congressional district could be withdrawn, told WPTV News by email, quote, voters should be able to choose their representatives, not the other way around. I pressed the governor if he should have an independent, bipartisan commission to redraw congressional districts. He said that's the job of the legislature, and if voters don't like it, they should vote their legislators out.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that. But I want to go to the two completely stupid statements made by Democrats, Nikki Fried and Lois Frankel. The Republican Party has all the power in the state. So, redrawing the districts because we're afraid of losing power, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh, there's a super majority.
You look at that district that they pointed out with the two claws going out. Come on now. Come on.
Well, the funny thing is that they're talking about District 20, right? District 20 is like right there where Palm Beach is. And so that means District 22, which is not that bad of a congress. It's not like that gerrymandered, but 20 is. But if you go down to 23, it has the claw in it. So if it's a square, you have this big line going towards the center, reaching in. So that's two districts that are gerrymandered in order to make this one seat. It's not like you can have a victimless crime in this situation. If you're taking a district, remember that district on top of Florida that was stretched all the way across the state?
Yeah.
All right. So you had to take voters from all over the states of Florida where they had nothing in common. people that like in FSU have nothing to do with people in Jacksonville. You know, those are two different worlds, but they were almost in the same congressional district. And so you can't just fix one because there's more surrounding. There's not like it's isolated. They're not an island. It's not like it's Hawaii. So, you know, they can redraw at least 2 districts, 3 districts that are here in the area. And they absolutely should. So, I mean, I would look forward to that. I hope that Desantis just isn't talking. I hope that he moves. He's an action-oriented guy for sure. I hope that he moves and he does this. I can't believe that we're only going to gain 1. That's the sad part.
Yeah, we should be a few more than just 1. That's for sure. And
I mean, I think that we could get 3. If we really were aggressive and we redistrict this map and made everything into perfect little squares, you could probably get 3 congressional seats out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the reddest state in the union right now, I would say. I mean, at least I think so.
The trend is that way. Absolutely. The trend is that way.
The Republican Party holds all the power within the state. They should do what they need to do, at least the governor, not the party itself, because I have no faith in the party itself. But yeah, and just to address another comment from Brian, he said, look at the train wreck of the bricks in downtown St. Cloud. Don't get me started on that. That makes me so angry every time I think about it. And we need to talk, Brian. We need to talk about where that money went. I have some ideas myself, but yeah,
no kidding. That's a great point, though. We talked about that on this show so much.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of times. And Dan, the attorney man who settled that case.
God, that guy should be fired.
Yeah. But the guy who said he would fire him seems to have no intention of firing him. Yeah, loves him now and has his sights set on the city manager. At least that's the way he made it look.
Yeah, he does not like her.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Brian. Exactly. Oh, man. All right. So the liberals pushing back against the elimination of these pride crosswalks, these rainbow crosswalks, John. It's happening all over the state.
Now at 6, residents are making their voices heard against a controversial order telling South Florida cities they have to paint over their rainbow crosswalks. Good evening, I'm Elliot Rodriguez.
And I'm Lauren Pastrana. Thanks for joining us. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten joins us now from Fort Lauderdale, where the protest will kick off in about 30 minutes. Ted?
Yeah, Lauren, that protest kicks off soon, like I said, in about 30 minutes or so. Now, it's all about this right back here. This is the pride flag. This is at Sebastian and A1A in Fort Lauderdale, right next to the beach. The state says, I mean, when you look at it right now, you can see it's a little bit beat up because there's an ongoing construction project here. But the state says it has to go. Eric Swanson is perhaps best known as Miss Bouvier, a drag performer. Whether it's Miss Bouvier or Eric, there's deep hurt with the possibility of the pride colors being painted over as demanded by the state.
It doesn't define us, but this symbolizes a battle scar that we've earned, and we don't give it away easily. It also signifies a safe space. It tells us where I can go, Sebastian Beach, guides me to a place where I can hold my husband's hand.
Eric's leading 2 protests tonight. The Florida Department of Transportation is demanding cities get rid of crosswalks that have social, political, or ideological messages, as well as street art.
I am no stranger to these battles, and this won't be the last one. And I wanted to use my platform and my voice to draw attention to it and to hopefully lead some unity among the cities that are under attack for these crosswalks.
Fort Lauderdale Mayor Dean Trentalis called an emergency city commission meeting for Wednesday to plan a response. A Key West commissioner is pushing for the same thing, while the city plans to appeal, saying the crosswalks were put in place legally.
The crosswalks in Key West were placed and installed by contractors in compliance with the FDOT design manual more than 10 years ago. So what changed with regard to the guidelines in that design manual, if anything?
In Miami Beach, Commissioner Alex Fernandez is pushing for a special commission meeting too regarding the Rainbow Crosswalk at 12th and Ocean Drive. He takes issue with the state's reasoning calling it a safety issue.
We cannot let for safety to be used as a cover for intolerance, especially when we know that this crosswalk is among the safest on Ocean Drive.
He told us Miami Beach police found between 2018 and this past May, there were 15 crashes at this intersection. The streets north and south of it had between 23 and 37 crashes during the same time.
And at the end of the day,
that
FDOT
doesn't
may
matter.
try to paint over this crosswalk,
garbage.
but they can't take away our pride. They can't take away our inclusive spirit in Miami Beach.
Meanwhile, Coral Gables Art and Public Places crosswalk outside City Hall is being painted over.
I didn't know you could take it away that easily.
She was told it's by the state.
I didn't know your pride was on the street.
So cities have until early September to paint murals.
All right, enough of this. Any ridiculous statements in that video, but the most ridiculous came from the drag performer, but it reveals a lot because the drag performer says that this signifies a safe space for me. It tells me a place that I can go. So this, in other words, is a place. When they're doing this, they're marking their territory, just like a gang member when they tag something with graffiti are marking their territory.
Yep, that's exactly the point that we made in the pre-show was, this is like a gang tagging its territory. And that's just wrong because the city has it doesn't have an owner. No, it does not belong to any particular community. It's there to serve everyone in their community without bias, without looking at color, without looking at homosexuality or sexuality in general, without looking at anything. So if the city uses my taxpayer dollars to go paint this rainbow or a transgender or pride flag or whatever on the street, that is a problem. It creates a problem where everyone's intimidated. Now, imagine if you did. We said in the show. Imagine if they did like me. I never asked the government to paint a Trump flag on my behalf, right? I never asked the city of Kissimmee to go paint a Trump flag out there. I never asked the city to go paint a rebel flag out there. Nobody else has, right? And they might have, but they wouldn't. If anybody asked for it, they wouldn't do it. What if somebody asked you to go paint the Nazi flag on there? Are they going to do it? Of course not. So then why do this? It's the same stuff. It's an ideology. It has nothing to do with anything else besides pushing an agenda, and it does not belong on our streets. I don't care if it's safe or not safe. It has nothing to do with it because I don't think it impacts safety at all.
No.
If these commissioners were real leaders,
Total garbage.
they would be worried. Say again?
It's total garbage.
It's garbage.
It's total garbage.
But if these commissioners were concerned about their residents, they would be concerned that there's 3 streets that have 30 deaths on them or whatever, 30 accidents or incidents or whatever it was, right?
Yep.
But they're only worried about the one with gay pride flags on there. So why would that be the case? You would think that they would be interested in everything else going on. So if you're not gay and you're using the crosswalk down the street, they don't give a damn if you get hit by a car. But this is our holy grail right here, this pride flag going on. And we're going to fight. We're going to spend tax money. We're going to spend every penny. We're going to spend all of your time, all of your investment that you put into the city out of your pockets. And we're going to spend it on legal fees fighting against the state. It's totally wrong. These guys, it's Doge. They need to give Doge teeth. And it needs to find, whenever it finds malfeasance or misfeasance, they need to be able to put you on notice and maybe initiate or allow people or give people instructions on how to initiate a recall.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's another point, John. I didn't even know this, but Brian was talking about a huge pride flag flown on the Kissimmee parking garage in downtown Kissimmee. I didn't even know that there's one there.
I haven't noticed it.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed it.
But
I'm going to go and look tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, Mayor Jackie Espinosa, why?
I mean, why? Yeah, why? If that's taxpayer, you're allowed. So when do I get my turn?
Or Osceola County Commission. I don't know who controls that building but
that's the county commission.
All right. So then we know why. We know why. Then it's Cheryl Grebe. But
but the point is, they'll never hang a flag of mine there. Let me go put my Army unit flag up there, the 173rd. Let me go put the 173rd flag on that garage and let's see if they hang that. They wouldn't do it.
I've got a couple of Trump flags that we could put up on.
I know, right? You would probably be arrested.
Oh, it was only there for Pride Week, he said.
Oh. Yeah, that's still pretty dirty.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's they don't do it for anybody else. Okay, well, how about in December, they break out a big Jerusalem cross and they hang it on that building.
Yeah.
I'll pay for the flag. If the county hangs it, then that would be great.
No. All right. So up in Jacksonville, and we featured Jacksonville quite a bit on this show, talking about Mayor Donna Deegan. Well, she's having a big fight with the city council right now over tax cuts.
Republicans on the Jacksonville City Council facing off against Mayor Donna Deegan over next year's budget, proposing spending cuts and tax cuts.
City Council President Kevin Carrico says the budget that the Finance Committee is sending to the full City Council cuts more than $13 million from the mayor's proposal.
Donna Deegan calls the ongoing budget tug of war a political move and pointed to what she says will be lost.
We shouldn't be discussing any increases. We shouldn't be discussing.
There's Porky Pig in the back there.
We should be discussing giving those dollars back. That's what we're here to do.
But what does that mean for what our citizens are telling us they need? Like pools, or like meals for seniors, or like housing that is affordable. All the money is gone for affordable housing right now. All the money has been taken out for housing that is affordable for our citizens.
Liar.
Taxpayers say they're caught in the middle with one of the big issues being property tax rates.
News for Jax reporter Scott Johnson spoke with voters about this tax debate.
Jacksonville Republicans spend the morning blasting Mayor Donna Deegan over her proposed budget and looking for property taxes to be lowered.
We need to continue to push and say enough is enough. We want the relief. We want to give the money back to the citizens. Over $13 million have been cut from your taxes. That money is coming back to you.
The news conference had several shots at Mayor Deegan, who responded just hours later.
The average homeowner will get about $1 a month back on property tax rollback, right?
Good.
There are debates over whether to potentially cut services like HealthLink Jax and dental care access, which provides services to uninsured residents.
This is hard. Do you cut taxes or cut services? I think that services are more important.
You do think they're more important?
Yes. Even as a home buyer, I think that the greater good is more important, and not everybody. I think like accessibility is important. I'd rather that people have, and then I
Is
just
that like a
work
home
little
investor? It may
harder.
depend on who you ask. Really, it has to depend where you live in Jacksonville. I feel like people who live downtown benefit a little bit more from the property taxes versus people at the beach. So it may depend.
You don't think you get as much out of it living at the beach?
I think that it depends. Yes.
Well, I feel like city services go to people who live in downtown. It doesn't help me out here. Your thoughts on people who live on the outer edges of the city and maybe don't see the central infrastructure?
Well, look, like I said, it polls well, right? It polls well. But the truth is, if you really drilled in on that and you said to that person, so is $1 in your pocket, roughly a little more than $1 a month in your pocket if you're a homeowner, is that more important to you than making sure that your pothole gets fixed? Or is it more important to you than making sure that
She's such a
police and
liar.
fire
Such a
services
liar.
are covered?
So you're saying roads, police, and fire would be affected by this?
What I'm saying is name the city service. Right now, we have the lowest
I'm glad he
property
asked her
taxes
that.
of any large city in
And
the
she
state of
couldn't
Florida.
answer that.
It all has
truthfully.
to be worked out before the final budget is passed by the end of September. Scott Johnson, Channel 4.
She is such a liar, John. I'm glad the reporter asked her that follow-up when she made that bogus statement and she couldn't answer it truthfully, so she pivoted. She is just the worst, John, the worst.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many other things that they could be focused on. But the point is that how can you see this gigantic increase in home values, right? Which are unrealized gains, but they're taxing you on these unrealized gains. So imagine if you buy a house and it's worth $400,000 now, you bought it for $100,000 10 years ago, you pay all these increased taxes on the value that it's increased, but you die, you never sell your home. You never realized any of those gains. You paid taxes on things that you never saw and do not exist in reality. You pay taxes on that. And that is wrong. And so some people are talking about it. Some people are not. The legislature doesn't want to move on it because they don't want to, right? We know why. They were all former county commissioners. They all, what's his name? What's the guy's name out there in District 5? Ricky Booth. I already mentioned him earlier, right? He's in the pocket of the state guy, and the state guy's in the pocket of this guy, and they don't want to take money from each other. They know building the tax base is the name of the game, right? That's how they do it. They build power by building the size of their bureaucracy. The larger their bureaucracy, the more money they get from developers when the developers are trying to build, right?
Yeah.
On the back end, on the front end, no matter which way. That's how you get money. You build the size of your fiefdom, and then when it's time to sell your fiefdom, you get more money. Those are realized gains. But for most Americans, these are unrealized gains. They sit in their houses for, I don't know, 5, 10, 20 years, and they never see that gain. It's something that's like for their retirement. They're going to pay taxes on it, but you pay taxes on it every year.
Yeah.
Every year. So it's wrong. They should absolutely fix that issue. They should fix it by removing property taxes. The local governments have proven, especially in Osceola, that they don't need the money and they don't even know how to spend the money to make our services any better.
Yep, it's true. And, there's been a lot of talk and very little action. So now is the time to see that action. Let's see this happen. Let's see some reform on this insurance, homeowners insurance, and property taxes. Let's get this happening. They failed once again during this legislative section.
Fail again.
And I predict they're going to fail again, but we'll see. We'll give them a chance.
I don't think that they're going to resolve the insurance problem, because now you're getting people who are involved in insurance, who are in the process now, which is what they were waiting for. Why didn't they come up with some kind of resolution or solution to the problems of insurance? Because they were waiting for the insurance industry to tell them how they felt about it. Well, now the insurance company has been developing those ideas, and you're going to see some of these things. So they're not going to be solutions. They're going to be problems that impact us, burdens on us, the American family.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, John. So you talked about a sweaty rhino, right? Or well, here he is. Randy Fine is proposing that the Ocala National Forest become a national park.
Well, when you think of national parks, the obvious ones come to mind, right? How about Yellowstone, home of Old Faithful? Another easy one, the Grand Canyon, 278 miles of stunning terrain. Well, now there is a new push to add a piece of Florida to the list. Congressman Randy Fine has filed a bill to turn the Ocala National Forest and several springs into a national park. As West 2's David Jones explains, the change could drive even more tourism to the Sunshine State.
Under Congressman Randy Fine's proposal, the Ocala National Forest would join with Area Springs to create the nation's 64th national park, the Florida Springs National Park.
These two are worthy of designation. Our springs are telling us that they're struggling.
Volusia County Chairman Jeff Brower says statewide growth has effects on the more than 1,000 springs across Central and North Florida, all connected to the aquifer.
Silver Springs, one of the largest springs in the world, has reduced its flow by 30%, and most of the seagrass, like you see out here in this spring, healthy seagrass, most of it is gone. The nutrient load is so high.
By merging the borders of more than 40 existing state parks, forests, and refuges into a single national park, we protect not just the surface land, but everything underground.
Fine says combining the Ocala National Forest with surrounding springs like Blue Spring here outside Orange City would boost tourism and provide more environmental protections. The question about how it would change the face of recreation in the forest or in the springs, he says, is still up in the air. All that would be determined with a study on the type of national designation that this area would receive.
There are many springs, many parks. There is this patchwork quilt of development in this part of Florida. But to have the national park figure out what springs, what lands, what designation, national park, national recreation, national monument, what combination of the few.
Fine followed his bill asking the National Park Service to evaluate merging the forest and springs to create what could be the third largest national park in the continental United States. The bill faces a long road ahead.
Yellowstone is preserved because they have the greatest concentration of geysers in the world. Well, we have the greatest concentration of springs. And for that reason, we thought that they should be protected.
David Jones, West 2 News.
All right. I don't know how I feel about this, John. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I've never seen a situation where you bring in the federal government and things got better. You know,
Yeah, that
it's
is
just,
true.
I would be shocked if something got better. Now, would they get more money? Yes, they would get more money. If the springs are really having a bad time, why can't the state deal with it? Right? Why can't the state deal with the problems that they're having? I mean, that's our state. We live in here in this state. Why didn't Randy Fine fix the problem when he was a Florida senator? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have come up with some kind of legislature that would have fixed it. Now he's just going to make it part of the federal government. I don't know. I mean, I here's the thing. I trust Trump more than I trust the Florida legislature, but Trump isn't going to be like decorating the springs. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be like out there with some gold paint, painting trees gold or anything like that. So you just don't know whose hands are you leaving this in after a Republican administration. You know, like it just says a lot. It says a lot that we have. If it's so bad that we need to turn it over to the federal government, we haven't been doing things very well so far.
No, not at all. So, they did say it's going to be an uphill battle for him to get this bill approved. So we'll see what happens here. I'm just I don't even know how I feel.
I think it would increase. It would increase. Obviously, it would increase tourism, right? It's great that you have Ocala National Forest and you have the Grand Canyon. To have those two things on the same level, that's big. I mean, there's all of Florida could be a national park.
I don't.
That's what makes Florida special.
Yeah, look at what Key West turned into.
Yeah, look at Key West. They ruined it, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been better. I'd turn that over to the federal government any day. I mean, that's turned into Carlos Guillermo Smith Disneyland.
Yeah. Yes. All right, John, before we go to our Central Florida segment, I sent an email out today, or the secretary for our Osceola County Conservative Republican Assembly sent out an email from me today to anyone that's on our email list. And it talked about this movie. Many of you know, and many of you don't know, my mother worked for Walt Disney Feature Animation for many years, up until they closed the studio here in Lake Buena Vista. She made many friends, and one of them's name is Tom Bancroft. Tom Bancroft worked for Disney for many years in animation. He is an animator. He left Disney because Disney was conflicting with his religious beliefs. Of course, you know that. You see the stuff that Disney had been putting out for the last few years. He went on his own, created his own studio, and they made this movie called Light of the World. And it is the story of Jesus through the eyes of the youngest apostle, John. And I urge everyone to go out and see this movie. If we want to see more movies like this, a movie that you can take your kids to and not worry about what they're going to see in the theater, take them to this movie. If you want to support,
you're gonna be blown away by this trailer.
If you want to see a movie about Jesus do well, go see this movie. We need to show Hollywood that an animated movie about Jesus Christ is going to outperform anything woke that they put out in Hollywood. And I can tell you, this movie was done old school, 2D animation, and 2D animation is hand drawn. That means there's no computer animation. 2D animation, it takes 24 drawings to make 1 second of film. So just keep that in mind. Here is the trailer for Light of the World.
Tell me about this Jesus.
Your taxes. Can you pay them or not?
Yes, of course.
Oh no!
My son, John, is right here with your money.
3 days, double what you owe.
And if you can't pay, we take your father to prison.
I brought someone who can help. This is Jesus.
Never heard of him.
He's helping people. I want to be a part of that. This is my chance to show up.
No, we've talked about this. It's just a story.
Papa?
We're gonna need a bigger boat!
I knew a guy who ate those.
The baptizer?
With the honey and the wild hair.
Ooh, that gets me every time.
Tell me about this Jesus.
Jesus is no Messiah. He's nothing.
And sometimes evil men silence those who speak the truth.
What is truth?
This is not the end. It's the beginning.
Of the world.
All right, John. So starting off our Central Florida segment, Lake County is now joining Orange County in this class action lawsuit against Senate Bill 180.
All right, across Florida, counties and cities alike are beginning to line up to join a brewing class action lawsuit against the state. The suit will be over a recently passed law that critics say kills local ability to control development. West 2's David Jones is in Lake County right now, where commissioners are considering becoming the latest to join.
Local backlash is growing against a little talked about but consequential law passed this session, SB 180.
It's beyond partisan politics. It's just corruption versus the people.
Lake County Commissioner Anthony Sabatini says he expects Lake to join a list of other counties and cities planning a class action lawsuit.
SB 180 shuts down every single government lever of control. So if there's anything a local government can do to try to slow down or contain growth or condition it in any way, it's now illegal if they weren't doing it as of a year ago before the hurricanes.
Residents in Lake say they're frustrated by traffic and what they see as overdevelopment. SB 180, as it's being interpreted, would prevent counties and cities from making more restrictive changes to how land is developed. The law was passed with bipartisan support. On its face, it protects homeowners looking to rebuild after a hurricane. A closer look shows it would apply to any county included in the disaster declaration for Hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Milton, so the whole state. It would last until October 2027. It says counties and cities cannot, quote, propose or adopt more restrictive procedures concerning review, approval, or issuance of a site plan, development permit, or development order. It also applies to county and city comprehensive plans.
We expect our commissioners to stand up for what the citizens are asking for, which is a lot less sprawl, a lot less urban problems, and a lot more conservation.
There's just so much concern about this law and the intrusion into home rule authority.
Jamie Cole is the attorney spearheading the yet-to-be-filed lawsuit.
After Hurricane Andrew, in South Florida, everyone learned that we needed to have stricter building codes. So stricter building codes were implemented. This law would prevent that from happening.
Covering Lake County, David Jones, West 2 News.
Yeah, this is really bad, John. This is really bad, this Senate Bill 180. And I know this is something we talked about at our meetings at the Osceola County Conservative Republican Assembly. We were talking about the different bills that were up in the legislature. This was one that was highlighted because it would take away all of this from county and city governments to be able to fight back against development. It's just unbelievable.
I don't think that they really want it. I don't think that there's local governments that really want this.
No, you know what, John? You're right. They don't want it because they've shown us that already.
Yeah, right. The thing is, nobody wants to get the blame for overdevelopment. They just want the back end benefits, but nobody wants to blame. So every county commissioner is going to say, "Oh, well, look at SB 180. I can't do anything. I can't do anything."
Yeah.
And the ones that are suing are the ones that might be trying to protect their counties, or they're trying to protect the money coming into the local, because that's what it does. It impacts money. And of course, the local home rule issue, you know, people hear home rule and they're like, yeah, I want home rule. I don't want the people in Tallahassee governing. But at the same time, look at your home rule. In Osceola County, I would surrender the control of Osceola County to the state, right? It's so bad. Traffic is so bad. Overdevelopment is so bad that the corrupt uniparty rhinos in Tallahassee aren't going to do any worse than the absolute moronic rhinos and corrupt Democrats here in Osceola County, right? So because they couldn't do any worse, I mean, in Osceola County, it's a whole different story. Do we need home rule? We can't even practice home rule, right?
Yeah.
We're controlled by the developers, but so is Tallahassee. So there's no great big fight on if I had Anthony Sabatini as a county commissioner, maybe that would be better for me. You know, I would be willing to fight over, but I don't. I have Brandon Arrington. I have Ricky Booth. Okay. We already saw what they've done.
Yeah.
So,
nothing. That's what they've done. Nothing.
Yeah. No, they want more development, and they're willing to pull any string to make it happen. So all this is doing is providing them with an excuse. So Lake County is a different animal. That's a much better county. Orange County, that's a much better run county. No matter how you feel about the Democrats, Orange County is better run. Dyer is a better mayor than, you know, anybody that we've had here in Osceola County, right? These are better, smarter, more talented people, even though they are ideologically incorrect in everything they say. So,
yeah.
But they know they're not morons, right? Buddy Dyer's not dumb.
Well, yeah, he's been in office for what, 20 years, John? I mean,
yeah. So has Brandon Arrington, and he's dumb.
Right.
So look at the difference, right? You have Ricky Booth.
At least Dyer has learned how to play the game and how to work it. But I would argue that Orange County is joining this just to fight back against Republicans.
Yeah.
Lake County, it's because they see what's wrong and they're trying to, and like you said, it's Sabatini.
Yeah.
But you notice Osceola County hasn't jumped in on this class action lawsuit, and they won't.
No,
you know,
they're developer. They want it to pass. They want this. They want to not. They don't want the pressure of being told change permitting so that they can't build faster.
Yeah.
You know, so they absolutely have to have this. SB 180 is a big favor to Osceola County. That's what it is. It's a favor to our elected officials here in Osceola County.
Yeah, no, I agree with that absolutely. And you know, talking about Osceola County looking like garbage and upkeep, we're gonna get to that. That's coming up a little bit later on in the show. But next, Visit Orlando tries to defend itself to Orange County Commission on their spending. Now, Phil Diamond, the comptroller in Orange County, conducted an audit on Visit Orlando, found they misappropriated millions of dollars. So this first video, real quick, it's about a minute. It just kind of goes into Phil Diamond talking about it and the CEO of Visit Orlando defending her spending.
Was that they classified millions of dollars that they received as private dollars and not public dollars.
That was Orange County Comptroller Phil Diamond back at the end of July, talking about the results of his audit on Visit Orlando. The money in question comes from the TDT, Tourist Development Tax. It's the tax that people pay when they come to Orange County and stay in a hotel or an Airbnb. Visit Orlando gets 30% of that, which is over $100 million a year. The goal is to have more visitors to create more tourism jobs and bring in more revenue. But expensive dinners, car allowances, and other things were all part of the audit. Today, I sat down with Visit Orlando President and CEO Cassandra Mate and asked her to explain why tax dollars were being used to pay for those things.
What I think is very important is all the dollars that the comptroller is asking us to reclassify do not come from hotel tax. They come from things such as the ERC that we received during COVID, or they came from participation fees. So the sources of those dollars were not tax dollars.
Cassandra, in this audit, it talks about you personally having a $12,000 transportation allowance.
A car allowance is part of my overall compensation package, and that has been a common practice with all my predecessors since the start of Visit Orlando.
How would you explain to them when they say, why can't we use these TDT dollars to fix roads or for schools or for other services?
When there's always a lot of discussion around the use of tourism development tax, and we are held by a state statute. So this is a restricted fund and restricted use of type of.
All right. So she talks about, restricted use of the funds there, but defends the fact that she gets a $1,000 a month car allowance. I don't know. This is just crazy. But then it gets even crazier, John, when she has to go before the Orange County Commission and defend their spending.
I'm News 6 community correspondent Laverne McGee. Visit Orlando is under fire, and today they were here at the Orange County Administration Building defending the millions of dollars that the comptroller says that they misused.
Our taxpaying dollars shouldn't be misused. Sharon Aguirre is just one of the many people who showed up to have their say about the Visit Orlando audit. She's in Local 737, a union that represents over 19,000 hospitality workers. According to Visit Orlando, last year tourists spent $94.5 billion in Central Florida. Aguirre says that money isn't trickling down to hospitality workers.
The Visit Orlando audit needs to be taken more serious.
Mayra Uribe is one of the Orange County commissioners who says Visit Orlando misused close to 20 million tax dollars. An audit by the comptroller found that tax dollars were mixed with private money. Visit Orlando gets hundreds of millions of dollars from the TDT. That's the tourist development tax that people have to pay when they stay in hotels.
There's taxpayer dollars that have to come back. This is not up for negotiation.
Visit Orlando CEO and President Cassandra Mate says they're happy to work with the county, but does not believe the audit is accurate.
We believe we were in compliance of our agreement. Some of their recommendations were new ways of doing business, and I think that's where the gray is, because looking forward of what should be classified TDT, what is non-TDT.
What about the whole idea of perhaps modifying the 2019 contract, and there was just simply so much gray area?
We need to fix it. So we've got to make sure that this can't ever happen anymore in the future.
Mayor Jerry Deming says the board will spend some time to figure out what plan of action they'll take. Aguirre says hospitality workers will be watching closely.
It's very frustrating.
Laverne McGee, News 6.
So now the unions are upset.
A terrible shirt for a union. It looks like thing 1 and thing 2.
Yes, it does. But now the unions are upset, that they're not seeing a lot of this money. I mean, let's face it. And this is something we talked about in the pre-show. Things like Experience Kissimmee and Visit Orlando, these entities are big giant Ponzi schemes and unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Visit Orlando. Why do you need Visit Orlando? Why do they need to collect hundreds of millions of dollars to bring tourists to Orlando when you have gigantic entities like Disney World and Universal Studios that are constantly advertising their parks, constantly advertising to bring people to Central Florida? What is the use of Visit Orlando? I mean, I can't see any use for it except for to pay bloated salaries to unnecessary human beings.
Now, if she makes $1,000, is kind of changing pace. But if she makes $1,000 in a car allotment, which is not like some kind of absurd thing, right? An executive gets $1,000 for a car. That's what our school board members make. That's what whatever. And she's like, this is like a pseudo government kind of arrangement, right?
Mm.
So the problem is, how much does she actually make, and who is she, and how did she get that job?
Yeah,
right?
that's my curiosity, is how much does this woman make?
Yeah, because it's all gonna be like, this is like, we know somebody who was the head or the president of the Education Foundation in Osceola County. That's a sham job, right?
Yep.
It's a sham job. They
Yep.
give it as a favor to you and whatever. And I imagine this is too. We also saw and are familiar with what is it, Kissimmee, whatever.
Experience Kissimmee.
Experience Kissimmee. We saw how they used that and public money to basically put somebody that we know up against the wall on the little museum, right?
Yeah.
And they were using that against them to make them do what they wanted to do, right? And we heard it from the horse's mouth.
Yep.
So those things, if that kind of stuff is happening, then they shouldn't exist. Those organizations shouldn't exist. Now, the amount of money, they're supposed to basically promote Central Florida and bring people to Central Florida and whatever. But if they just reduce the hotel price by the amount that they give to the TWT, to this tax, which is very high, it's like a 10% tax, right? So if that money just went to reducing the price of the hotel room, it would probably do more for tourism than the whatever work that they're doing, because that so much of that goes into the administration of that organization. The other thing is that these people how are they spending that money in terms of marketing? Now, if they were spending that money to market Central Florida, and it was working, then you would see that. I think that you would see the result. But nobody ever says, oh, I came here because of this. I came here because of Visit Orlando.
No.
Right? They come here because of Disney.
Yes.
So they Visit Orlando would have been great. 50 years ago, we're trying to ramp up the tourism industry here. And so that, they were marketing, come for the weather or whatever. Everybody in the world knows that Florida has great weather. Everybody knows that Universal's here. Everybody knows that Disney's here. They're spending enough money on their parks to bring in their customers that we don't need an organization like Experience Orlando or Experience Kissimmee and Visit Orlando.
Yeah.
We just don't need it anymore.
No.
Right? Now, sometimes they might do, basically, you're right. It's a Ponzi scheme. What it's doing is trying to get people more campaign contributions. It's another way to funnel the money from point A to point B. It's another way to lobby for the hotels. That's what they're using that money for. They're lobbying, they're making contributions. And I know because I interviewed before them. So it's just, it's fake. It's a fake organization. And they have no interest necessarily in, their byproduct is to bring more people here. But really, it's a political game. It's a political organization. And that's all it's good for.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree more, John. I just don't see the point. You have no bigger advertisers for Central Florida than Walt Disney World and Universal Studios. So
yeah, no kidding.
Enough of this, and I wish more people would open their eyes to this and see what these entities really are. Because like you said, there's nobody that comes here and says, oh, I'm here because of what I saw from Visit Orlando or what I saw from Experience Kissimmee. I'll tell you this, though. I have seen Experience Kissimmee do some ads on Facebook as of late. They've just been popping up in my feed, and they're featuring
what?
They're
what
featuring
does Kissimmee or Experience Kissimmee have that nobody's going to come to Kissimmee? I don't know.
No.
Maybe if you drive down 192, you see the hotels, right? That tells you everything that you need to know about Experience Kissimmee. What were you saying?
I was going to say that Experience Kissimmee, their ads now, they're featuring a WWE women's wrestler going to attractions in Kissimmee. So I guess she went to the Pirates Dinner Theater and she went to one other place. And I guess they paid her a bunch of money to come and do this. I don't know. I don't know what the agreement was. I can only imagine. But a lot of people don't know who this woman is. So this is what they're spending the money on.
Yeah, they might as well. It's basically this is like a PAC. That it's just a lobbying firm. That's all it is. I think that they do very little other than that.
Yeah.
I mean, what is their budget going to look like? They make $100 million in taxes. $100 million. Why not put that $100 million back into the citizens' pockets? Why not build roads with that money or whatever? Like they said, you don't need it. She's like, oh, well, the state statute says that we can't spend this money on education or roads or anything like that you actually need. Okay, well, then take out the TWT.
Yeah.
And then that money just becomes regular revenue. And then they hire more people. Then they have more, profit as a corporation and so on. But why pay more lobbyists? Creating a lobbyist is never a good idea. And Experience Kissimmee is a big joke. That is a big, big joke.
Yeah. All right, John. So let's move on to this story. It is Monique Worrell. She's looking to alleviate her high caseload. How's she going to do that?
Oh, boy.
The state attorney for Orange and Osceola counties, Monique Worrell, says her office has a lot of open cases and that if they want to make more progress at resolving them, they need more attorneys who actually want to work here. I'm Mike Valenti, your Orlando community correspondent, and we heard from Worrell Thursday about how the past quarter went for her office and what she envisions for the future.
We have to pay them a fair and living wage so that they are not tempted to jump ship and go work at one of the private law firms that are going to bring them in at $100,000 right out of law school.
Addressing reporters Thursday, Monique Worrell walked through an audit conducted by her office. She described the 5,797 open cases as crushing, divvied up amongst 12 felony C attorneys.
With this high of a caseload, these attorneys cannot be properly prepared to go to court and do the work that is expected of them. And with such low salaries, the question for them becomes, why should they?
The starting salary, she says, for an assistant state attorney in the 9th Judicial Circuit, which is one of the largest in the state, is $68,000, the same as a law enforcement officer in this area. Except unlike LEOs, the prosecutors are not eligible for overtime pay, despite working overtime hours. So Worrell says her office is working to implement a 5-year plan, which includes scheduled legislative meetings to request additional funding and a career development program to try to keep lawyers for at least 3 years and train them more. In regards to your desire for better trained attorneys, do you have any concerns that there are current attorneys in your office who aren't meeting the standards you expect due to a lack of training?
So my concerns are that our expectations for lawyers 6 months to a year out of law school are unrealistic.
So just to be clear, I mean, the audit, in your opinion, is not a reflection of the attorneys themselves.
Absolutely not. And thank you for asking that question because I want to be very clear. The audit is not a reflection on the attorneys. The audit is a reflection on the fractures within this office that we are going to be working diligently to repair.
For this state attorney, a fixed system would look like upping low salaries and lowering the high turnover rate. A vision that, for now, is just that. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti.
All right. So we talked about this in the pre-show, John, but before I mention what I want to say about this real quick, I went and looked up real quick what Cassandra Montage's salary is for Visit Orlando. Take a guess what her salary is, John.
$250.
Nope.
$400.
Nope.
Damn. $600.
$630,000 a year.
Holy smokes.
Yes, she actually was under investigation in 2024 by Channel 9 because of her high salary. She is making over $500,000 a year.
Wow.
As the CEO of Visit Orlando.
Yeah, 250 is like, that's nothing, right? Like 250.
That was my initial guess, was she was around $250,000.
Yeah, 250, 300, 400 even. I'm not going to be super offended. It's $100 million organization.
I would be.
It's high because there's such little usage and it's such specialization, and they don't have to fight for their money. Like CEOs make big money when they have to fight for their money. When you have to hunt and farm for your money, okay, your big pay is worth it. They don't have to because it's tax money essentially.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Participation fees, I think, are fees that they get, like they throw an event and then the people participate they pay money, they sponsor event, their partners pay for access to the hotels, et cetera, et cetera. So, but it's tax money. The majority of their money is tax money. I mean, that is absurd. That is absurd.
$630,000. But Brian, you hit the nail on the head because I was about to say the same thing. You know what? I'm not going to argue with the fact that those lawyers deserve to be paid more because that is ridiculous. $68,000 a year.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's crazy. But
that's crazy.
You know what? Monique Worrell would have been able to make a better case if she hadn't been dismissing charges during her first term as a state attorney. I mean, she got herself removed from office because she wasn't trying these cases. Now she's back because the voters, over there decided to put her back in office, even though she wasn't doing her job. They decided to put her back in office. Oh God. And then here she is asking for more money for these attorneys, but she didn't do her job in the first place.
No, she created an enemy with the state too, and she's a George Soros character. So yeah, they don't want to give her any money. They don't want to see her succeed. Now, I think that that's wrong because at the end of the day, you can't play like if you're the super law and order guy and then not provide. Come on, if you're paying a state, first of all, how long have they been making 68 grand? Right?
Yeah,
that's crazy. She was the AG before. They should have rectified the problem her first term. You would think that she would have had this same speech in her first term at the very beginning. You're making 68 grand to prosecute criminals, like the well-being of our civilization is resting on your shoulders, and you get paid 68 grand salary? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah. Okay. That's a crazy amount. It costs you, there's no way it costs you less than 150 to go get your law degree. So you spend 150 and then you make 68 grand? That's horrendous. But let me say this.
How disappointing.
The best lawyers and the best prosecutors aren't doing it for the money, right? They do it because they get in there, they put on their pants, they put on their armor, and they're like, I'm going to go and fight crime, right? That's what it's about. If you're going to go to the state prosecutor, you're there on the go there, fight the best ones, right?
No.
So there are some real good ones that are there, and they're like, listen, I'm the win cases. I'm to build a reputation. I'm going to fight hard. I'm going to leave there in 3 years. I'm going to go get a $250,000 job, but I'm going to make a name for myself here, right? And so there's all kinds of people. It's not about the money. Nobody's going to give you their life for $68,000 a year, right? No, certainly not. No one with a law degree. So they're going to expect way, 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 way more. But if they can't get it there, they're going to go there. They're going to cut their teeth there because these are people that don't know anything. Listen, I graduated from law school. I didn't graduate from law school knowing how to be a lawyer, and neither did anybody else, okay? I was not the dumbest person in my law school, right? I wasn't the smartest, but I wasn't the dumbest, and I would not want to hire me as a lawyer without the years of experience on how to win a case. These lawyers coming out of law school, they're also not very smart. I hate to say that. I hate to say it, but it's true. These are not, you have the whole DEI thing at the same thing in law school.
Yeah.
Right. And because you have that, you don't have you don't have the best people going to law school. I hate to say it, but that's just the case. But these lawyers come out and they will work for you if you're an awesome leader, if you're doing the right thing, and if you're inspiring them. You can create, instead of a whole group of lawyers with all this ambition, you create a whole bunch of soldiers that are there to fight for the community, and you will be mopping the floor with crime.
Yep.
She fails to do that because she doesn't have the will to do that. She has ambition and nothing else. So that's the problem there. But they should be getting paid at least 100 grand. I hate the idea that there's a lawyer out there. Imagine how bad of a lawyer you have to be, or how inexperienced of a lawyer you have to be long-term state prosecutor. It's just at 68 grand. I mean, come on, you can go make more money than that doing practically anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Brian said she has no business there. You're exactly right. She has no business there, but you can blame her being back there in large part to the Republican Party of Florida screwing up that race.
Yep. That's exactly why. That's exactly right. The Republican Party of Florida gave her that seat.
Yep. They sure did. They sure did. They
In their
completely
fecklessness and
completely screwed up that race. They had it in the bag. And they blew it. They blew it. All right, John. So more crosswalk talk here, and this is out of Orange County or in Orlando. Down at the Pulse Memorial, they are very upset that they painted over the rainbow crosswalk. We got two videos here because there's a FAFO video that we're gonna play too. But here's the initial story.
Of course, it's Florida, so the rain is going to wash away the chalk that's used to cover up the crosswalk outside the Pulse nightclub. But the people we met here Friday say that's not a problem. As you can see, there's plenty of chalk left. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti, your Orlando community correspondent, and we continue to cover the fallout after FDOT's decision to cover the rainbow crosswalk.
I will come out here every day and do it over and over again. I don't care.
I think let's keep doing it. We need to raise our voices.
Alina and Kim Holder found some shade for their young son Odin outside Pulse Friday morning. We sat and talked while the one-year-old gripped a piece of chalk.
What did it mean for you two to have him out here with you?
Means a lot. He's the next generation. He really is.
Wow. FDOT's removal of the rainbow crosswalk
that statement right
caught
there,
the
John.
holders off guard.
Personally, I think it's wrong. It's one of the small few things that we have as a memorial to this tragic event, and in the cover of nightness, it was taken away from us, and that's not right.
A sentiment shared by Mayor Buddy Dyer, who called the action by the state callous and cruel. But an FDOT spokesperson says the spot in question is a state right-of-way, and that the department took action because this was not in compliance with traffic standards. Similarly, U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy sent a memo this summer to all 50 governors, urging them to keep intersections free of political messages and artwork not tied to pedestrian or driver safety.
Their argument is that pieces of art don't belong on crosswalks or intersections, that they could be distracting to drivers. What do you make of that argument?
I think they're full of it. They're colors on the road. If that's a distraction to you driving, then maybe you shouldn't be driving.
The city of Orlando received no warning
I'm
from
all
FDOT
for
that
less
the
drivers on
crosswalk
the
would
road,
be removed.
especially ones
But
that speak like
afterwards,
her.
at about 7 o'clock Thursday night, the city did receive this letter listing nearly 20, quote, non-compliant locations. The rainbow crosswalk on Orange Avenue and West Esther Street is not on this list. Meanwhile, we found other crosswalks with designs still there, including one just a block away, and these checkered crosswalks next to the Daytona International Speedway. So far, the state has not said if the other crosswalks, including the checkers in Daytona, will be removed as well. I'm your Orlando community correspondent.
All right. So real quick before we go to the FAFO video, John, they have to do this with all of them. I mean, obviously, if they want this to have any teeth, for this to mean anything, they have to make all of them the same. They can't just let the checkered crosswalk in Daytona remain there. They can't let the Soto one remain there. They have to get rid of all of them. And the state did send that letter down saying those need to be in compliance. Obviously, you heard those two females talk about their son being the next generation raised in this indoctrination, but the Pulse, well, you know what, let me go to the FAFO video and then we'll talk about it. Here's that, because 3 people have already been arrested. I think it's up to 4 now for going back and coloring this crosswalk.
If the rain doesn't wash them all away, these messages in chalk will be waiting for city employees returning to work Tuesday. The protesters came here Monday, trying to deliver a message that this issue is bigger than just Pulse. They say it's about freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Anything you want to say?
I would love to say a lot right now.
but I have been advised.
Is that a blue beard, John?
Zane Aparicio leaving the
That is
Orange
a
County
blue
Jail
beard.
Monday after a judge ruled that he and 2 other people could be released on their own recognizance. The 3 were protesting outside polls Sunday night, covering the crosswalk in chalk, when FHP arrested them, accusing them of interfering with a traffic control device.
They absolutely are an infringement of First Amendment rights. The crosswalk is an extension of the sidewalk. The sidewalk, along with other public spaces, city parks, et cetera, those are all traditionally held public forums in which we can exercise our rights to free speech.
Blake Simons represented all 3 protesters, who made their first appearances before a judge Monday.
They were exercising their right to free speech. I find the statute to be overly broad and vague as to what constitutes a traffic control device. They fail to allege an actual $1,000 or more in damage with water-soluble chalk. And I don't believe that there's probable cause for this arrest.
The judge, however, disagreed with that last argument.
I am going to find that there is probable cause. I am going to find probable cause for the arrest. I am going to find probable cause for the arrest.
The same judge did not find probable cause for a similar arrest on Friday, when a man visiting Orlando was accused by FHP of putting chalk on his shoe and walking across the crosswalk.
Here, because they lost the first one, more just the crosswalk.
And as he was at City Hall for more chalking, Zane Aparicio was asked if his arrest was worth it.
I think it was, but I literally just walked out of here. You guys are rushing me a little bit.
What the protesters have planned next is a question the protesters are not inclined to answer at this moment. I'm your Orlando community correspondent.
All right, John. So, obviously, when we talked about the first story, we saw those other crosswalks. You can't leave the door open. Like Brian said, you can't leave the door open for this to bite them in the ass, because that's what's going to happen. But
I think so. Legally, I think that there's a possibility here that Daytona can say, "Listen, this is a thing of this is a issue of interest. There's no ideology. There's no thought behind this. It's not a waste of taxpayer money." It's kind of like the TW2 situation where we're trying to promote our city and its character and so on. To me, that's not so bad. Okay, that's fine. That's reasonable to me. And I think that what they should do is allow for a community to send a request to the state for approval, right?
Right.
So if it's ideology based, if it's a Trump flag, if it's a Confederate flag, if it's a Nazi flag, or if it's the pride colors, the most offensive of all, then you say no, right? Yeah. If it's checkered flags, I say, okay, well, we'll approve it for Daytona, right? They call their city like the home of speed or something like that.
Yeah, the birthplace of speed.
Yeah, so I think that that's reasonable. I agree that you can't leave the door open. If it's anything at all ideological, if it's anything political, you gotta nip it in the bud. You just can't allow it.
Yeah, because it's like Brian said there. What if the Klan wants to express their freedom of speech and do a Klan crosswalk? Or if I want to have a Trump crosswalk, and in the crosswalk it says Trump was right about everything. I mean, the liberals would lose their minds. They would lose their minds.
They would lose their minds, and you probably would have gotten arrested. And so I think that you should. If they continue doing this, I would like to go to Orlando, and I'm going to paint a big Trump sign on the other crosswalk. But now they're arresting everybody for doing it, so it's not worth my time, right?
No, not worth your time.
But if nobody was getting arrested, they're going to do this. Now I'm going to go do that then. I'm going to go right next to it. Just draw a big Trump sign on there.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what they're arguing for. The Democrats are always wrong about everything. I mean, they can't get anything right. You would think that they would say, okay, well, fine, then good. We're not going to have any of this stuff. But instead, they want to leave the door open, and they want Republicans to come in and start putting their things, and start putting. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a good idea to arrest them. If it's chalk, come on, it's chalk. It rains here the whole summer. It's going to blow it off. I hate the idea of tax money being wasted, right? What they should do, I hope that the state is doing it. If the state is sending people to clean it or to arrest those people, then they better be sending a bill to the city that's allowing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I hope that Orange County or Orlando are getting a bill for the cost of cleaning it up. And it comes out of whatever state money, because they're going to refuse to pay it. It comes out of whatever state money that they get right off the top. Boom. You know, $2,000 for sending our guys out there to clean it up. Boom, $2,000. And so every time these guys come out, it costs the city $2,000. And if they want to pay for it, then they can do it every day, right? Then
Yeah.
they're keeping somebody employed. The people have to pay legal fees. The city has to lose the state money. I mean, that's fine. Then you make them pay. But at the end of the day, money talks, BS walks, and sometimes money and BS walks in the case of Orlando.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, we talked about this the first day that they painted over it, and then, you know, the liberals went and colored it with chalk. It rained that afternoon and washed it all away. So, I mean, you know, eventually with them doing it in chalk, it's all going to go away anyway. But
Yeah, they're going to get tired of doing
you
it.
know,
Let them.
the liberals and the left and the gay community is basically saying this is different because it's at the Pulse, you know, intersection where the Pulse nightclub was. And there's no doubt that the Pulse tragedy was a tragedy. It absolutely was. All those people that lost their lives, you know, God bless them, but they have a memorial there on that property. They don't need it in the crosswalk.
They have the
They
whole
even have
property.
a memorial here in Osceola County that's unnecessary, but they don't need the crosswalk. They don't need that to be part of that memorial. It's just a bogus argument.
Fight.
Yeah.
It's a dumb fight. You're right. You're 100% right. You go on the sidewalk and do it. Go. You have the whole property there. Just do it there. It's so, I mean, these fights, they just make them look dumb. It's a distraction for them. It's why Democrats are losing like crazy, because they can't focus on things that are important.
Yeah.
You're telling me that the most important thing for the city of Orlando is to continue chalking this crosswalk? That's the most important thing to Democrats. I know it's the most important thing in the world to Carlos Guillermo Smith, but to everybody else, that's the most important thing. It's dumb. It's dumb. You don't win by being dumb, and that's all they are. It's just, it's crazy. You know, it's not about Pulse. It's really about all the BS, right? Honor the people of Pulse. Honor the kids that were shot up in Minnesota. We honor all those things. This is not something that our country should be hosting, is these tragedies. But at the same time, we can't allow ourselves to lose focus on, for the government to be doing its job, which is serving its citizens, right? We can't focus on our churches have a job, right? They have a very important job in our society. The people have a job. So this is dumb, you know, and they're all wasting time. The city fighting with the state over this is dumb. We get it. You support gays. The city, we get it, we know it, but you're going to lose the fight at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So how much money are you willing to spend and waste on behalf of the residents of Orlando?
And I would even dare say this, John, that it's not the majority in the gay community, because I think that if you're a gay person with common sense, you can see that it doesn't matter to you. You know what I mean? That a rainbow crosswalk really doesn't matter that much to you. And if the state and the national government is saying that we can't have roadways with political messages, you'll go along with it and you'll be like, okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But you have this small faction within their communities of these militants and these crazy liberals that, you know, just want to continue on with this and fight this. And it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy.
You know, I know a handful of gay people and a couple of gay people who are my friend, who I'm friends with, and perfectly reasonable, normal people.
Yep.
This does not make them look normal. All right.
Yeah.
This makes like ruins their whole community. It's just like whenever I see like a Hispanic acting like an idiot, I'm always like, oh God, why? You know, let it be somebody else. And it's like, I'm sure that gay people feel the same way. They're like, why are you doing? Why do this? Why do that? Don't take your kid to somebody when they're naked on the street. You know, that's not a parade that you want to take your kid to. It's not, don't do this. Don't, you want to protect, right? They're normal people. Right?
You know,
and
if everybody,
their movement is hijacked.
Yeah, if everybody would treat their own communities the way that we treat ours, and I'm talking about Republicans within the Republican Party, because we call out the bad actors all the time. If the people in the gay community would call out the bad actors in their community, they would get a lot more
Then they
respect.
get harassed because they are like the mafia.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So they can't. The
And it's the
difference
same
is
thing within the
Republicans hide
black
the shame.
community and the Hispanic community and the white community
They
and
can't. You get attacked.
all these.
Right?
Yeah,
It's-
you get
and
attacked.
it's the same. It's exactly. They get attacked like
We
crazy.
get attacked. We get
yeah,
talked
we get
about.
exactly. So the Republican conservatives, the actual people, are the same ones. The Republican Party is as gay and as dumb and as everything that we have talked about already. Right? Every adjective that we use to describe crazy people, the RPOF is that. But the normal people, the people that come to like that FRA meeting, for example, these are just people that care about their country. And when you do something wrong, you talk about it. It's normal. It doesn't have to be crazy.
And we call out the bad actors. We call out the bad people.
Absolutely.
And
In fact,
I
we
think
do on this show all the time.
if more of us did that, and we would come together closer as a community of people, as Americans, if we got rid of those people that want to keep us divided, and these are the people, the bad actors that keep us divided.
Yeah, with these distractions.
Yep, absolutely. All right, John. So, surprise, another deputy arrested at the Osceola County Sheriff's Office.
I'm Worrell Baker here reporting in Osceola County, here at the Osceola County Jail, where 25-year-old Deputy Jeffrey Curtis II turned himself in on Friday. Now, he is accused of unauthorized use of a computer system. Investigators say that Curtis, who joined the agency in 2020 and worked in veterans outreach, assessed databases knowingly and without authorization to obtain information not related to his cases or duties in September of 2022. In a press release, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office stated that this is a direct violation of agency protocols and Florida law governing offenses against computer systems and electronic records. He was placed on administrative leave August 15th. A warrant was signed for his arrest on Wednesday.
I want to remind you all that we have a great agency with a lot of good people. We just have a small segment that we're looking at that have some issues. And with that, as we see those issues, we will arrest and prosecute those people if it's criminal charges.
Last month, Interim Sheriff Chris Blackman announced the arrest of another deputy and an employee for misuse of computer systems. Blackman says that those cases are not related to the illegal gambling operation that landed Sheriff Marcos Lopez behind bars in June. But he says that the now suspended sheriff knew about and ignored one of the employee's illegal actions. During a one-on-one interview a week ago, the sheriff told News 6's community correspondent Laverne McGee more charges are coming as he cleans house.
I had the internal affairs section go through everything for the last 4 years and 5 months, which was under the Lopez administration. We've looked at that. There's some additional stuff from there that we've discovered since then that we're going to make some more charges on some more people.
The 25-year-old's bond was set at $1,000. Here in Osceola County, Worrell Baker, News 6.
All right, so we know that this isn't going to be the last one, and we said that the last time we talked when they arrested the other deputy employee. But it seems to be, John, that the last one they arrested, it was for misuse of the computers. This one, it was misuse of the computers. Just seems to be the same thing.
I think this is something so common with cops. They do this, right? We've seen it happen before. We've seen people get in trouble before for doing it. It's just something that's super common. You got to wonder here, that's the worst that they're finding. They have a sheriff who was caught in a gambling ring, right? Who is allegedly working with a Chinese spy in a gambling ring to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. And the only bad guys they can find are people using the computer system to check on girls and boyfriends. I doubt it. I doubt it. I think that they're giving them a way to get off the hook. They're saying, we want you out and we want you to keep your mouth shut. You're never going to be a cop again. They're going to charge you with that. I bet you they could probably do 10% of the force and charge him with that right now.
Yeah,
that's what I would get. I don't know if that's true, but I would suspect that they could fire 10% of their force for doing the same thing right now. So I don't know. I just think it's BS. I don't know. I can't trust it. I can't trust it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just funny to me that it seems to be the same thing over and over again with this. I'm sure they could find a lot worse. And yeah, I need to know what happened, Brian. I need to know what happened.
I think that they're letting him off the
Although
hook,
I think
right?
I kind of have an idea because I know that our chief got appointed to some board, right? Wasn't it?
The immigration board or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So very interesting, but yeah, I'm sure there's more to come here. It's just such a mess at that Osceola County Sheriff's Office.
I mean, all of it. Look at.
By the way, you did say the Chinese spy. That Chinese national fled to China, and they've given up any hope of trying to get her back or bring her to answer for her crimes.
I said alleged though.
Yeah. You did say alleged.
Just to be clear, allegedly.
Yeah. But there's no doubt she was a Chinese national, and there's no doubt she fled to China. She fled to China.
There's no doubt she was a Chinese national.
Yeah, and we'll never see her again. And they've given up on her. I mean, they've given up. They're not even going to try to extradite her or bring her back. You know.
I mean, I doubt you can extradite.
No, China's not going to give her over. I mean.
Listen, I think
I'd like to get deeper into those connections and know what she was up to and what she was really doing.
Yeah,
I think
why
that
would
needs
you
to
have
come
Homeland
out.
Security? Why would you have
Yeah.
Homeland Security come and arrest Lopez?
That's your dead giveaway right there. Is that Homeland Security was involved?
It's not like the FDLE. It's not like a sheriff. It's not like It's not like somebody else. It's not a marshal. It's not It was Homeland Security.
No.
Strange.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that these are ways to get rid of cops that you don't want on the force. Maybe they're bad guys, but they're letting them off with a slap on the wrist. They won't be able to be cops anymore. They're kicking them off the force and whatever. And who knows what else. But it's strange that it's the same thing. It's not corruption. It's not doing anything really bad that's really going to get you, So and why? Because they probably don't want they want the cop just to leave. They want the cop to leave, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
And yeah, I've heard the same thing, Brian. I've heard the same thing. I've met the man. I've talked to him several times. Nothing bad to say about him. He said Doug has been a great addition to St. Cloud and would love for him to be able to speak openly about his goals and passion.
Let me talk about St. Cloud for a minute here, okay? And I'm going to talk about this Fat Boys incident, right?
Oh,
so most of you guys who watch the show, right? There was a lobbyist. The lobbyist came. He physically, he attacked me, right? And this is a guy who supported the illegal sex trade, whatever. It was all on video, okay? Yeah. Anyways, so St. Cloud police decides that they're not going to do it. There's all in the room that it happened, and at an event that had a whole bunch of elected officials and a whole bunch of VIPs, according to Osceola County, right? A whole bunch of non-VIP VIPs. But nonetheless, they were afraid to do anything at the moment. They didn't. I think it was a bad decision.
This was an event for Andrew Bain, right?
Yes, it was. And then later on, somebody recently, the reason I'm thinking about it was that somebody sent a video. Another guy, like the Liberty Troll, made another video of it. So anyways.
Nice.
So
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. I'll have to put it in the links. Anyways, they went and they arrested him at night the next day. But when the cop comes, knocks on the door, it's all on body cam, right? The cop comes to his door and says, "Hey, I don't know if you got my call. I was calling you to let you know I'm coming here to arrest you." What?
Yeah.
What? You're calling a guy who is well connected to let him know that you're coming to arrest him?
Yeah.
What is that? It was Brian, in fact, that sent that to me, coincidentally. Anyways, the guy comes and he tells Mike Horner, I was calling you to tell you that I'm coming to arrest you. I was coming here. This way, you stay in jail less amount of time. If you turn yourself in on Monday or we come get you on Monday, you're going to miss it. You're going to be there longer, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, what cop does that? They would have never done that. They don't do that for the normal person. Do the cops come and say, "Oh, listen, I tried calling you to come and arrest you. Oh, but you weren't here. I wonder why. That was under Gerke. Now, to his credit, at least he was arrested, because I don't think that he would have been arrested. I think it was very hard to arrest Mike Horner. I think it was very hard to come to that conclusion, to arrest Mike Horner for battery on an elected official. And then the Volusia guy lets him off the hook. Clearly, there's corruption at play. But nonetheless, they shouldn't have called him in advance. You put your officers in danger.
Yep.
Right? Now you're warning him that you're going to come and arrest him? What if he lost his mind?
But the thing is this, John. Why do they call and warn him?
Clearly, that's not something.
He's not an elected official anymore. He hasn't been for a very long time.
He's not a VIP. He's not shit. Right? He's somebody that supports the illegal sex trade, who just battered, in his mind. If you're thinking like a cop, I'm coming to the door to arrest somebody, and this is their second huge public scandal. The first one, they're at a whorehouse. The second one, or involved in a whorehouse. The second one, here they are getting arrested for battery on a elected official. Okay? He could have been like complete. You never know. He might have been willing to shoot, right, to save himself. And you call him in and give him advance notice. I think that's BS. It's horrendous that somebody did that. It's completely and totally not good police work, and it's totally unprofessional. So I don't know. That's the only experience I have. I do have respect for Gerke. I think that he's better, but I also think, you know what, man, everybody just goes with the flow. And it's very hard to find a man today who will stand on his own 2 feet and stand with what's right and stand with God at all times, because a lot of people just talk crap. And then when the challenge comes, you bend your knee, you get on your knees for another man, for a favor that is against God, against honesty, against transparency, and against our country. And so I don't know. I think it's very hard to do the right thing. And if you do, it costs you.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bottom line. It costs you. And I think very few people are willing to pay what it costs to be an actual honorable man when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you still banned from Fat Boys?
I have no idea. I don't like dog food. So since I don't like dog food, I don't go there.
Oh, man, it's not that bad. But, there's definitely worse in St. Cloud. That's for sure. Definitely
the Fat Boys in Kissimmee is way better than the Fat Boys in St. Cloud. I don't know why. The Fat Boys in St. Cloud is shit. I don't want to let those escape. But
that's number 2.
We've gone there. We've gone there multiple times. We've gone there, and the food is horrendous. It's got to be owned by the same people, right?
I think so.
So I don't know why the one in Kissimmee would actually have like food that you can eat, and the one it's like,
it all depends on who's back in the kitchen. Honestly, John. I mean,
I don't know.
In these places,
anyways,
honestly,
I don't like roaches in my meals.
No. All right. Anyway, if you don't know who the Liberty Troll is, he is on YouTube. Definitely check him out. He's trying these government entities all the time, and it's just fun to watch. All right, John. So let's different owners. All right, so that's the answer to the question. It's different owners.
What's that?
It's different owners.
They're different owners?
Yes.
You're kidding, really? It makes perfect sense, because the one in Kissimmee, listen, I thought they were owned by the same people, so I wouldn't honor one and then disparage the other restaurant. I would disparage them both. But nonetheless, I mean, the one in Kissimmee is great. We'll have to compare. You'll have to bring Tom. You have to go to Fat Boys down there, and I'll bring it from Kissimmee, and we'll have to compare the two. It's worlds apart.
Yeah.
It's worlds apart. One is like high school cafeteria food. The other one is like really, really good barbecue. And the only reason I haven't eaten there is because I thought they were the same.
No, I've been to Fat Boys in St. Cloud hundreds of times. So, I mean, it's I'll have to check it out, though. All right, Pizza City and Fat Boys in Kissimmee are owned by the same family. Now,
Really?
I've never been to Pizza City. I honestly, I've never.
I'm gonna go there.
It's not that far from where I live, and I've never been there. Only because I like Bella Roma. I like a real Italian pizza, and I don't know that Pizza City is. So I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna go try. I'm gonna try Bella Roma
I
too.
won't eat Domino's. I won't eat Papa John's. I like Bella Roma. Bella Roma's really good, even though they didn't support me when I ran for city council. But
Who owns that place?
I forgot the guy's name, but he's an Italian. You know,
So is it the guy? Wait, is it the
he supported the smiling idiot that sits on the city council right now. But anyway, he did at the time. I wonder if they would have made a different decision now that you've seen some of the antics of that smiling idiot. But
I mean,
anyway,
anybody that doesn't have buyer's remorse on those city council members is an idiot.
Yeah.
I'll put it lightly. Anybody who does not
believe
have
me, nothing
buyer's
has
remorse is
changed
an
here in
idiot.
St. Cloud. Nothing has changed. Anyway, all right. So
It's
let's
gotten
talk.
worse.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. When you're nickel and diming the residents for the boat ramps and the pool and come on, dude. All right, and they got a big decision coming up next month. So on the next Florida show, we'll be definitely talking about that. We'll see what they do. But let's talk about Kissimmee a little bit and this new hotel and convention center. They are so happy that they're getting.
I'm Stephanie Rodriguez, your Kissimmee community correspondent. The city of Kissimmee will soon have a 300-room hotel and a new convention center right here where the Kissimmee Civic Center is right now. It will be torn down and transformed into that hotel and convention center. It's an over $180 million project that Kissimmee leaders say will transform the city, and downtown businesses hope will bring them a big boost in revenue.
It's a new day in Kissimmee.
I sat down with Mayor Jackie Espinoza a day after the City Commission unanimously approved the project, and her phone was already ringing.
We already have people calling to see if they could book 3 years from now.
The 300-room luxury hotel will have restaurants, a rooftop pool and bar, retail spaces, and a shuttle service connecting to Kissimmee Gateway Airport and MCO in Orlando. Next to it, a 45,000 square foot convention center that will be built without any public debt. The agreement with Azure Hotels International guarantees the city an annual lease payment starting at $2.5 million with annual increases, recovering the city's investment within 5 years. Kissimmee will also get 5% of the hotel's profits and free access to meeting spaces.
I think it's going to be a great economical boost for our downtown merchants and storefronts. So I think it's going to be a win-win for everyone.
And some entrepreneurs agree.
So as a new business owner in the area, what do you think about the new hotel and convention center?
I completely love it. I'm in agreement with it. It's going to bring a lot of business to those who want it, and we're ready for it.
It's estimated this will bring in $5 to $6.5 million in annual property taxes, 400 construction jobs, and 150 to 250 permanent hospitality jobs.
I think it's going to change our dynamics, our landscape forever and a day.
The project, once construction begins, is expected to take about 36 months to finish, but again, they're aiming for that 2028 completion date. I'm your Kissimmee community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, so just a quick reminder, yes, construction jobs are temporary. All right, those are temporary jobs. Don't even count that as a job because it's a temporary job. And before we talk about this, John, I just wanted to say, yes, Brian, I know you should be disappointed. You should be disappointed. I am too. I know you funded many, and I know you funded me. You helped me when I was running, and I can't thank you enough for all you've done. I first met you, 5 years ago? And you have helped me any chance that you could. Anytime I've asked you.
Great family.
Yep, great family, great people. And I'm disappointed too. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, this thing here, I've seen a lot of discussion about this hotel and convention center that's coming in here. Obviously the mayor of Kissimmee is very happy about it. They're going to get free meeting space in this thing. But how successful do you think this is going to be, John? What are the? I mean, time will tell, obviously. But what are your thoughts on this?
So I don't think it's a bad deal for the city, right? To be fair, I think it's okay. I mean, they're getting something out of it, right? St. Cloud, usually they're selling a part off to something else. They get nothing out of it. The residents of St. Cloud get nothing out of it, and then everybody gets screwed in the transaction except for them and their friends. So at least they're getting something out of it. It seems like it's a good deal. It could improve business. here's the dumb part of this, and there always is something, right? The dumb part of this is that they are narrowing the roads that place sits on. So you have a plan to, at the same time of building a huge hotel and new convention center, taking downtown and narrowing the streets. It's dumb. It's just, that's dumb. That is dumb. It does not make sense. We already have the worst traffic in the state. Now you're going to make it worse by, I don't know if, the city of Kissimmee has realized this, but the streets are a problem already. And now you're going to make them smaller. I don't get that. That's crazy. So now everybody who lives on the outside of the city, right, on the outside of the city limits down those streets, you're going to be sending all this traffic into these residential business areas. And I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any. We paid to widen those roads. So you're going to narrow them. And then in 15 years, we're going to pay again as residents to make them wider again. And then what? And then somebody's going to come back and they're going to be, oh, you know what we need? We want to make it a walking city. So now you're going to narrow the streets again. I mean, come on. Stop. I mean, you don't, that's not good business to turn your wheels over and over, undo whatever, if you don't have to do that level of construction to have the same impact, just close the street.
Yep.
You don't have to do any construction work. Close the street. You put a cone. It's an orange cone. It costs $10. Put it at one end. Put it at the other end. Don't let cars go down it. I mean, you don't have to cause this huge disruption and construction and money. It just shows that people aren't thinking about resolving things on behalf of the citizens. They're more thinking about their egos and their legacies as a mayor. That's what I don't like. That's what I don't like. And you know what? And I'm just assuming that everything goes as they plan it.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you this, if it goes as well as they think it is, then there's no way in hell it's a smart idea to close 2 lanes of traffic on the adjacent street.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just say this. I mean, you can look at the history in Osceola County to tell whether this is going to be a success, John. I mean, Brian said Heritage Park. I hope Heritage Park has dropped the ball with a number of things. Number one, Country Thunder. And I'm hearing that they're going to lose Mecum. I don't know if that's the case. And I do thank KVLS for letting us use their facility. But, Heritage Park is a different entity. And, they have the Osceola Magic there. But, I mean, who cares? I mean, they're the D-League team for the NBA, Orlando Magic. If you want that downtown area to be a success, you got to clean it up. And the number one thing is we've heard about all the shootings that have happened down there. That was a big story that we talked about on this show a couple of times, I believe. And that's number one.
So
before you even get people down there.
So that ordinance that you had to pay $250, you can't get in any trouble. You got to make sure that your undergarments are clean and whatever other rules that they want in order for you to serve alcohol past midnight. Is that hotel going to be excluded? Because I guarantee you that hotel is not going to want to do business under any circumstance. They're not going to want to build a hotel where the bar closes at midnight.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
They're not going to want to do that. People are spending. People are coming. You're doing a convention. People go and stay in the hotel. They come down. They want to drink. They want to hang out. People who are salespeople, they're going to want to sell stuff. They're going to want to buy drinks. They don't want to go home at midnight and lose this. The business is being conducted. So I get, but I guarantee, are they going to get special treatment than the other bars downtown? These are complexities that aren't being dealt with because you're trying to do too much with the opportunity that you have. Right. You got to think, you got to widen the net. It's what happens when you go down to 20 feet instead of staying at 30,000 feet. You got to be, when you're the leader of a community, you got to stay at that 30,000 feet so that at all times you have the strategy in place and the pieces are connecting. And when you get too low, you don't see the whole battlefield. Things are different. You start micromanaging and so on. So I don't know. I like the leadership of Kissimmee far more than I like the leadership of St. Cloud. They're morons.
Yeah.
Right. Far more than I like the leadership of Osceola County. They're morons. You have Ricky Booth, you have Brandon Arrington. Those are morons, right? It's Kissimmee is not the same animal, but it's not great too, right? We got problems in Kissimmee also. And this is going to be another one. I hate to see Kissimmee go down the path of doing something really dumb the way that St. Cloud would do it. It just makes a mess, right? Like
Yeah.
the streets.
Well,
The
we
streets
know
in St.
that a
Cloud.
lot of the problems from Kissimmee originate with Osceola County and the Osceola County Commission, not the city of Kissimmee. The city of Kissimmee has tried to work around Osceola County, but Osceola County is so large and overreaching, especially since they're right there in the Kissimmee downtown. They're making all the rules, and I imagine it's probably hard.
I mean, I don't know. They don't have to do this. I know that it gets exciting to have this kind of level of project, and then you get your big name on a big plaque, then, and a big brass plaque that goes on a building and whatever. I get it. But the thing is, you have to be very careful that you're not causing more damage, that you're providing the benefit. And, even though something looks like it's big, the net positives might be less than if you do something small, right?
No.
And I'm all about thinking big. I think that great big hotel. That's why I'm not like, I can't hate on the idea. I don't think that you need to tear down the convention center. I don't like the idea of throwing things away, right? Like in my family, we didn't waste, you know? So I hate to see the waste involved in tearing this down. Now they're going to build something else. So for a long time, we're going to use it. It sits dormant now. If it sits dormant now, what makes us think that we're going to be able to make use of it when it's bigger?
Yeah.
That's a super critical thing. These are questions that need to be asked. What is the reasoning, right? You could, I mean, it's a danger. It's a danger. And so you got too many projects going on right now, which they don't seem like they work very nicely together. It seems like it's putting a lot of risk on the backs of the residents of Kissimmee.
Yeah, well, we're not done with that. We have another major project in Kissimmee.
Oh, crap.
And I love that comment. You could put lipstick on a pig. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Kissimmee deciding the future of Vine Street. And here's that.
The city of Kissimmee is moving forward with plans to breathe new life into the Vine Street corridor.
That's right. Watch 2's Spencer Tracy shows us what's being considered.
Here at City Hall, Kissimmee leaders are one step closer to deciding the future of Vine Street, an area that is vacant that could soon turn into new restaurants, homes, and shops.
Kissimmee's open for business.
On Monday, Kissimmee city leaders and developers went over the next steps for the Vine Street community redevelopment area. It is 5 miles of corridor that city leaders say needs new life. The city is down to 3 proposals with these companies: Capstrata, Wendover Housing, and Skyview.
This is allowing more opportunity for a community to grow. And
hey, I haven't seen him in a while.
So I believe whether we like it or not, growth is coming.
Jason's Best Asian Market sits in the shopping center of the vacant Kmart site. Manager Ming Wagner says she is ready for the changes.
We are definitely very supportive to the new project. We are looking forward to improve our community image.
City leaders say 31% of all businesses in Kissimmee are located inside the Vine Street CRA. The plan has been in development since January and will continue with a community meeting set for next month.
We're just excited to start talking about infrastructure. We'd like to know that the infrastructure is in line and in place, so that then we can start either the redevelopment, the new construction.
City officials tell me they plan to choose a developer for this redevelopment project by the end of this year. Covering Osceola County in Kissimmee, Spencer Tracy, West 2 News.
All right, so
I'm sure that Osceola County is going to be like completely offended that she's putting infrastructure, in consideration before making sure anything's constructed.
Yeah, but I agree with the comment Ryan made that this area is bankrupt and crime ridden, and that is why it looks the way it does and has no business. That is exactly right.
100%.
The plan is to put gigantic apartment building in there or something, and all you're doing is you're creating more crime in that area, because who's going to live in that apartment building? I mean, let's face it. And that area, there's no real cleaning it up unless you get rid of a lot of people. There's homeless everywhere in Kissimmee, everywhere. every corner on 192 in Kissimmee, there is homeless people begging for money. The area is a terrible area. I choose not to drive down 192 in Kissimmee, or at least as little as possible, unless I absolutely have to. Yeah,
It's depressing.
It's so ugly.
It is ugly. It's ugly. It's depressing. So I appreciate their attempt here. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to do something about it. What the danger is, and you know, the city's only it only has the capacity to work inside the city, you know? So there's not a lot you can do. The city is what the city is. There's no way to change the city. You can't change the city and then develop it. And Jeremy's right. The development is coming no matter what. It's just what that development looks like. Who does it serve? How does it help the city? What does it do, right? So the problem with Kissimmee, and this is the problem with Osceola, there's no jobs. Everything that they do, that hotel is creating low-wage jobs. So you think it's going to become less depressing when you create more low-wage jobs? That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. You can't. It's like you have nothing but service industry people living on a corridor for miles for low-rent apartments. I mean, are these going to be like the fanciest luxury apartments? How many rich people are going to move into those?
I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
Are you going to, let's say that you can afford, your budget for an apartment is $5,000 a month. Are you going to go to Lake Nona or are you going to go to Kissimmee?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Right. So who's going to move there? The same jobs that you're creating are the same people that are going to be living there. And that means that that's going to get run down. In 20 minutes, it's going to be like every other apartment complex, just one street over.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be more sadness, more blight. There's not going to change because there's no other complicated plan to bring in jobs or industry. So you have two choices in Osceola County, right? You have agriculture. People don't want you involved in that business. They already have control. Agriculture doesn't want other people getting involved in agriculture. They're doing their own thing, right? So that's not an option. Then you have tourism.
Yeah.
That's it. So you can start a tourism business, but that's it. Neo City failed. If Neo City was hopping, right? If they actually had somebody to come in and make business in Neo City, then maybe, but that would have happened already. So Neo City's dead. Now you have the county competing with the city for any kind of like money. Come here instead of the county. Come here instead of the city. Nothing is working in cohesion.
No.
There's no real plan. So it sounds great. It's going to look great for one election cycle, and then in 10 years, it's going to look like crap, just like everything else. If we can't fill the hotels that are on 192, we're not going to be able to fill the apartments. If we can't fill up the convention center today, we're not going to be able to fill up the hotel that sits on top of it. They might have gotten at 3 years ahead for for somebody to have an event, but it's going to be like somebody's quinceañera. It's that's all. That's like, we got 3 years advance. Well, that's who? It's not IBM.
No.
So who is it going to be? Your quinceañera? That's not the type of business that we're trying to do. Okay. And I'm thinking quinceañera because I got one to plan for my daughter. So, it's just, but that's not the type of event that a city's economy is driven on.
Yeah.
So there's no real job. There's no real place to get an education that creates jobs. There's nothing. So until you resolve that, I mean, forget the big plans. Let's take care of the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Right. Let's make the city safe. Right. Let's keep it clean. Make sure every penny that we have is spent efficiently and wisely. Right. And then develop things that make the people that you have here right now happier. Then those people will get other people with more money to move here.
Yep.
That's the way it works. They're not going to come here and go to like a ghetto hotel, which is new last year, but in 5 years is going to look like any other Roach Motel that Peggy Choudry would have owned. So just saying.
I don't disagree with what Jeremy said. Absolutely, he's right. The development is coming. There's no getting around it. And it was nice to see him. I haven't seen him in a while, but and I appreciate that Jackie Espinosa is trying to do something with Kissimmee.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that I think that any chance to really save Kissimmee is long gone. I feel the same way for St. Cloud at this point. I think that the chance to save St. Cloud is long gone. That you can try to throw some money at it. And let's not forget originally how this whole thing came to pass at that empty Kmart. That was Osceola County and Cheryl Grebe and Jose Alvarez. Yeah. So that's how that whole thing happened. That's how that thing began. The people who really made the money on that deal were Cheryl Grebe and Jose Alvarez. And now the city of Kissimmee is the one that has to figure out what to do with it. Obviously, they're going the route of multi-use, but that's basically what they all do now. They all say multi-use, and it's supposed to be, residential with commercial, and we'll see how much commercial actually goes in there. But obviously, they've said already that these are going to be apartments. So,
yeah, I think that you need everything that they're doing right now is the road to perdition. That's what this is, right? Everything that Osceola County has done, everything that St. Cloud has done, and whatever development's taking place in Osceola is just the road to perdition. There's nothing really smart going on. There's nothing that changes. And what you need is a mix, right? You need to have a viable mix that it makes a city vibrant and exciting and interesting. And they can't do that because everything that they failure.
Yeah.
Everything that they touch is a failure. So what?
It's just like you had said, John, about Neo City. And now they're doubling down and creating Neo City South here in St. Cloud. It's like,
I mean, that's the triple down because they already decided they were going to spend another $75 million. By the time it's all said and done, probably $100 million on a performing arts center. They don't have anybody that's interested in art.
No,
they don't have any. You don't have a museum, but you're going to have a performing arts center. There's things that it's really ridiculous. Nothing is surviving. I mean, can't you you have to look at what's surviving. Look at the plants around your house, right? You're not going to plant like an apple tree in the tundra, right? You're not going to plant an orange tree in the tundra for sure. It's just not going to live there. No. You got to look at what's going to live there. And that's what you plant. You plant things that you know are going to live there. So I don't think that they're doing that necessarily, although it's a 100 times better effort than Osceola County or St. Cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, John, that's all we have for this evening.
Oh boy. Okay, so listen, we love you. We're grateful. Thank you, Brian, for watching, and everybody else who's watching. We had
a lot of people watching tonight.
Yeah, we have a pretty good number, and we're not getting. It's not for some reason we had a whole bunch of errors on the streaming platform and whatever. So
no, but I went and checked on the different platforms during the show, and I was looking. Yeah, and we were doing really good tonight. So thank you for spending part of your Labor Day with us here at Unsanctioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. God bless you. Take care. On behalf of myself, former school board member John Arguello, my great friend over here, Citizen Tom Lord, God bless you. And we'll see you later on in the week.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I was entertained, to be honest.
I think it is rich beyond measure. The fact that a school board member that has tens of millions of dollars of conflict of interest before this board has the courage to come up here and talk about anyone's behavior. If anyone should be ashamed of themselves, sir, it should be you.
And I'm in favor of you being able to speak your mind, no matter what. That's how we get. Remember when you were kids, right? And you had a problem with somebody, and then your dad would kick you out to go fight with that kid, and then you shake hands, then you go home, and then you become friends. Disgust when they're trying to, take this word and give it meaning that it doesn't have. Our entire country needs to go through a fasting. You see all of these new age hippies, right? They're constantly fasting. They're doing starvation diets, or they won't eat for this, or what is it called?